Hi guys, it's Petricus. Today we'll go through my general build because some of you guys have been asking me about it. So typically I've been running with the Alba for the frame and the head I swapped to the VP44D, and the reason why is because the Alba head has a little bit less armor, but it doesn't have enough of a weight decrease for it to actually matter much for me. And with my current head that I picked, it has a wider scan range and just better utility in general. So that's why I picked the VP44D instead of the Alba head. But the rest of it I use Alba sets just for the the lightweight build that I'm going for. And you know, I like the look, but if you can see right now that if you actually swap out the arm for the VP46D, it has slightly better melee specialization. It might be better if you're melee heavy, but that's about the only thing that I would suggest changing. So that's the frame selection. We'll go to the inner parts. So for FCS, the reason why I picked Talbot is because it has pretty balanced close and medium range assist that allows us for a good close range engagement, and it's with the build I generally stay medium to close range, but mostly because of the aggressive gameplay I stay pretty close. The reason why I'm not picking the Abbott is because even though it has better close range assist, it doesn't have as good of a missile lock correction, and that's important for the missile launcher that I use. So it's not that great for me. If you see the other videos that I posted, sometimes I run a all missile launcher weapon build loadout, and that's when I will swap out to this one, the G2/P10 SLT. And as you can see, that it has a better missile lock-on correction. It's one of the better selections for that, and I really like that when I go all out on the missile builds. And then the generator. So this generator is VP20C, and the reason why I picked this one is because of the lightweight design and the energy efficiency, the energy supply efficiency. It has a really fast regeneration when you're about to run out. Let's see, the other one is this one, the Santai from Dafeng. It's just a little too heavy for my build, so I didn't go with this one, but it does have a better recharge rate, but not enough to matter. And I generally try not to quick boost so much to run out of my energy supply, so I don't really need the delay. I don't really need the delay recharge. And this is just the overall better generator for what I run. And here's the booster. So the booster, the Alula 21E, has very comparable performance to the Grid Walker. The main problem with the Grid Walker is that it's too slow, the boost speed and the quick boost speed. And I generally try to stay in a fast side-to-side quick boosting close range engagement. That way I can dodge out of attacks from enemies, especially enemy ACs that have grenade launchers or lots of melee attacks. And I try to not run out of my energy bar, so the energy supply efficiency doesn't really matter that much because of the quick regeneration from the generator that I use. So the pairing is pretty good with the Alula and the VP20C. And let's see, so for the weapons, as you can see, I use Zimmerman, but you know, because Zimmerman's overpowered and it's basically, you know, the go-to weapon, you can always swap it out for something else for a lighter weight. I like the handgun, I like the needle gun. Sometimes I'll dual wield the needle gun. In one of my videos I have a dual wield needle gun paired with double Songbirds. But Zimmerman is definitely a staple of the build. Unfortunately, it's overpowered, so it does have a downside. The range is really low. And if you're out of the range, basically you are gonna get ricocheted off of the enemy. Especially the pallet spread of the Zimmerman. Typically I would use a assault boost towards the enemy, fire my Zimmerman, and then boost kick. That's a great combo for staggering. And then my left arm, I swap out my left arm every now and then. So you'll see some of my videos I use the Moonlight or some other melee weapons, or occasionally I'll use a gun. But typically I'll use a melee weapon on the left arm, and the reason why is because of the good damage output that they can put out. Right now I'm using the core oscillator because of the charge attack that I can do. It's pretty fun, but it's kind of hard to pull off because it doesn't actually have a very good enemy tracking when the enemy is in a different elevation than you. In some of my videos you can see that the charge attack on the core oscillator actually misses when I use the charge attack. But the single target attack, it's actually had good tracking on that, especially paired with the booster that I have. And then I would use the Moonlight because of the 2 consecutive hits that it can do, and being that it shoots out energy wave, it's actually really good if there's lots of enemies. And the reason why is because you can actually hit 2 different enemies with the projectile live wave. You would attack one time on one enemy before you hit the next trigger. You would switch target so that the light wave on the second hit will hit a different target. And of course you can swap that with the rear shift if you prefer that, but it does have lower attack power and impact. compared to the core oscillator, but it has a better attack than the typical Moonlight. So the Moonlight is better for a charge attack, whereas the Redshift is better for the single attack. And if you watch my Reach the Coral conversions video, you'll see that I use the Moonlight charge attack when there is a staggered enemy. So that's typically what I would use for melee. Occasionally I'll run the Viento, the needle gun, on the left hand, just for the more medium range engagements. And then on my back weapons, of course, I run the 10-shot missile launcher, and the reason why is because it has a better guidance, better speed compared to the 12 shots. Even though it has less damage in impact. And the reason why I have a missile launcher instead of double Songbirds is because sometimes I would need to multi-target. And it does really, really well, especially being that it's not a vertical missile launcher, that it can shoot the missiles out and have it going towards the enemy much more quickly. And you can assault boost and use this weapon at the same time. And I think that increases the impact damage it does. I'm not sure. I mean, it does for, say, a projectile gun. That assault boost and shooting the gun at the same time, the projectile will have a higher impact. But I'm not sure about the missiles, but I think it does. And the Songbirds is definitely my go-to. As you can see from my videos, that almost always have Songbirds with me. Again, it's overpowered. I think Songbirds and Zimmerman are very typical. It's not something that people don't, oh yeah, that's meta. But I don't care. I just played the game for fun, and I'm not gonna shit on anybody for using meta weapons or whatever. It's just use what you think is fun, right? And I think Songbird is really good paired with what I have. And if you watch some of my other videos, it's basically you zigzag between the enemy, go left or right, try to flank them, and using the various weapons that you might use to stagger and damage them. And I try to stagger the usage a little bit so that their cooldowns are not gonna be on at the same time, so that you always have something to attack the enemy. And sometimes it's kind of hard to do with trying to do that, trying to pace the weapon attacks so that you have a good pairing of stagger and direct damage. And for my expansion, I typically use the assault armor. I don't use it very often, but it's good definitely to use it to stagger somebody or take out their phase armor, especially on somebody like Balteus, or try to stagger the Ibis unit. So that is my build. Generally a lightweight build for side-to-side quick boosting. It does have decent flight capabilities, but definitely not a permanent flight build. What's going to end up happening is that you have somewhat of a sustained flight for a short period of time, that you can stay above enemies, but then you have to calm down to the ground to recharge your energy really rapidly. And that's what the benefit of the generator that I have. Every time you're on the ground, you regenerate energy really rapidly. And then you can get back into the pace of trying to stagger and attack. And that's it for today. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments, and I will try to answer them. Thank you.